ESPN and streaming live on Watch ESPN. Mark Richt didn't stay unemployed for long. Only days after being fired by Georgia, Richt will be hired as Miami's next head coach, according to ESPN's Brett McMurphy and Mark Schlegel. Richt is a South Florida native and played for the Canes from 79 to 82. Stephen A., can he bring the U back to Miami?
No.
I was real excited with that.
No, I mean, look, let me say this. Mark Richt is a good coach. I hear that he's an even better person. Had the pleasure of meeting him one time. Seems to be an incredibly nice man. Mm-hmm. Whatever comments that I make are nothing personal. I don't know him. I can only go by his record and what he has done. As good as Miami once was, and the potential that exists there, the level of talent that he has brought to Georgia, and what he has produced with it, I think he's come up short. 15 years at Georgia, just 2 SEC titles, no national championship, countless big games he's lost. Came within 5 yards. His claim to fame is that he came within 5 yards of playing for a national championship before losing to Alabama in an SEC title game about 3 or 4 years back. That's his claim to fame, a loss. 2 SEC titles in 13 years. I'm sorry, Nick Saban wasn't at Alabama for the last 15 years. Les Miles wasn't at LSU for the last 15 years. You've had opportunities where you should have come up big. And consistently, one time after another, Mark Richt has come up short. And I would like to say this, as uncomfortable as it may make people, we all know that when it comes to college football, there are a paucity of African-American coaches. So let me get this straight. I was told that basically he was fired. I understand, mutually agreed upon departure, whatever.
Oh,
they didn't want that you were fired, okay?
Yeah.
Okay, Monday. What's the day? Thursday. And you have a job. Clearly, Virginia and Miami, he was believed to be a candidate for both jobs. You got black folks all over college football that can't get a head coaching job to save their damn life. And this guy not only gets a job, but paying him $4 million a year, months removed from him getting a $800,000 raise, all right, when a man can't win big games. Only in America. I'm telling you, something special about this country. There really is, because there's so many people that can be mediocre or average that would never, ever get an opportunity. But this man has a job waiting for him. Because don't tell me that all of this happened in the last few days. That's probably why you were willing to leave Monday. Because you knew you had this opportunity waiting for you. So why not go get it? There's something that just stinks about this kind of stuff. Yeah. And I'm not saying he doesn't deserve the job per se. But don't tell me if you're Miami that you couldn't have found somebody just as good. I guess being a nice guy is what the qualifications are for potentially big-time college opportunities these days. And I guess not only being a nice guy qualifies, but also being a nice guy who somehow, some way finds the way to ingratiate himself with the right people is what counts, which clearly African-American coaches evidently must be incapable of doing in college football. Ingratiate yourself with the powers that be. I find this to be ridiculous. It is what it is.
I had the same thought yesterday. Now, did any candidate leap to mind that you had in mind after?
No, but we were talking about Charlie Strong. But you know what the thing about it is, Skip, last comment? I don't have to have those candidates. Do you know why? Because we don't hear enough about black candidates out there in college football. We don't hear enough about it.
There wasn't an obvious one that I knew about.
Exactly. And I don't know too many people that follow college football.
I didn't know an obvious one.
So I don't hear about them.
Now, just for point of order here. The University of Miami did go with an African-American head coach before Algo. They went to Randy Shannon. I covered him in Dallas, and I thought he was going to be great.
But he wasn't.
And he wasn't. It didn't redetonate under Randy Shannon. That surprised me.
So I'm not talking about Miami. I'm just talking about the college football landscape.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Okay? I still think Mark Richt was a good hire for Miami, and I'll tell you why. He reminds me of my man Bob Stoops, the University of Oklahoma. And, I got a love-hate going with Stoops. I like him off the field. He's a fine guy, nice guy. I want to hang out with him. He can really recruit. Richt can, and so can Bob Stoops. But when it comes to the biggest games, neither can motivate or strategize to the biggest games, because I can show you in both cases, Oklahoma, Georgia, every time it was showcased, why? They're too nice a guy. They're too laid back. They're too even keel. That they don't detonate. There's no fear factor that they can instill in the team. We go back to when did the U start becoming the U under Jimmy Johnson? Now they did win under Howard Schnellenberger.
Yes.
Before that,
They
that's
did.
when Mark Richt, by the way, played quarterback there as a backup
Yep.
quarterback. To remember to Jim
Yes,
Kelly.
that's right.
Okay, but Jimmy brought that edge to Miami. That quote unquote outlaw. Not that they were outlaws, but it had that mystique to it, and it was carried on under Dennis Erickson and even under Larry Coker.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden they kind of lost their way. Miami is a hotbed of talent. We know that.
That's right.
If you can just win Miami, you're going to win a whole bunch of football games. And I believe Mark Richt will start winning Miami because he won that Georgia region, which is another pipeline of talent, obviously.
Right.
They were always loaded and they always underachieved. But I'll take the talent that I think he'll bring there. Even if they start underachieving, I think they'll still start winning more games than they have been.
Absolutely, positively valid. I can't refute that, won't even try to. He can recruit. He is an incredibly nice guy from everything that I've heard, even though I don't know if Goody Two Shoes works in South Beach. I just don't know. We'll see. But I also think it's important to point out, Skip, I'm not questioning his qualifications for this job. What I'm saying is something that stinks about the fact
I
that
agree with
they're
that.
waiting for you like, oh my God,
Okay.
we have to have him.
Okay,
Really?
college football needs a Rooney Rule. That's what helped so
It
many.
needs a Rooney Rule.
It does.
It needs a Rooney Rule.
No question. Mark Richt's Georgia team had a ton of success against ACC opponents, going 19-3 in 22 games. Who's